No, I never want to imitate anything that anyone else has ever done. I think there's obviously qualities about this character that are going to be similar, you know, but this is my interpretation of the character, and you know, and I'm aware of how much people care about this character in this world. So, you know, I just tried to do what I thought was most truthful. And
is season 4 for The Witcher not looking good so far when it comes to the reviews. When it comes to the critics, right now they're at 55%. But when it comes to the fans, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, sir,
I'm the most annoying guy on set because I'm saying, excuse me, you do realize that this should be happening and they wouldn't do that, and you haven't read this, that means this would be impossible. And everyone's just going, Henry, just shut up and do the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do the thing because he wouldn't do it this way, and he can do it.
And that's where you start to get more uncomfortable, and you're thinking, there's not a performance.
You knew that they knew when they, you know, didn't promote this thing until a month before it came out. You knew they knew that switching from like Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth, as downhill as the franchise has gone.
It was posted last night. Netflix's Q2 report came out, and apparently they lost 1 million subscribers in the second quarter of this year, which we already saw that at the beginning of the year, they lost 200,000. The next month, they lost another couple 100,000, and they had projected that they were going to lose a couple million over the next few months. I don't really think people believed it, but it happened.
Millions of people are canceling their Netflix subscriptions. Why Netflix stock is absolutely tanking right now. I mean, it is just collapsing totally in the red. And you can see that it is on a massive downward slope this month. It's cratering. Why is that happening?
And you have a sense that you're going, is this really necessary?
Episode 1 spends the first like 10 to 20 minutes of the show trying to make you forget about Henry Cavill. They do everything they can to retcon it. I was shocked. They show Henry Cavill in multiple scenes, like when they're recapping, and they won't show his face. And then they reshot sequences that had Henry Cavill in it with Liam Hemsworth, so they could like completely erase him from everything.
Netflix just did the unthinkable. After months of silence, buried rumors, and desperate fan petitions, The Witcher Season 5 has been officially canceled. And the reason? Because no one, and I mean literally no one, was watching Season 4.
We knew that Season 4 was going to be a disaster. We knew why Henry Cavill left. We knew because they had desecrated the lore and like everything that people love from the books, from the games. That's not what this TV show is about. In fact, it's about the activist showrunners and the activists at Netflix doing what they want with the character, regardless of whether that's in line with what everyone else loves.
The once unstoppable fantasy giant that put Henry Cavill on the streaming throne has now fallen so far, fans are calling it the biggest Netflix disaster since Cowboy Bebop. But this story doesn't end with numbers, because after the news broke, Liam Hemsworth, the man who replaced Cavill, lost it. He didn't stay quiet, he didn't take the high road. He went off, and what he said has completely changed the conversation around the show, Netflix, and even his career.
a little daunting as well. I definitely felt like there was a responsibility to the fans and anyone that's watched this show before, and you know, it definitely wasn't lost on me that people cared about this world so much and these characters, and I think it just motivated me to make sure that I understood where this character was at coming into my journey and where he'd been and what his motivation was moving forward.
This isn't just another canceled series. This is a collapse of a billion-dollar franchise, torn apart by one casting decision, a furious fan base, and a meltdown nobody saw coming.
Were you familiar with this, the Watcher before you, The Witcher?
The Witcher,
before
yeah.
you started?
I hadn't seen the TV show, and I hadn't read the...
And maybe once in a while, Geralt might be allowed to take part in some irrelevant fight scene, saving an innocent woman from some bandits, or saving more innocent women from being burned as witches. Are you spotting a theme here? All while pining for Ciri and Yennefer, of course. Holy shit, man, Henry Cavill must be laughing his ass off.
So, how did The Witcher go from Netflix's proudest success to a series fans are now pretending never existed? Let's start where it all began, with a fall that no one thought could happen. There was a time when The Witcher wasn't just a show. It was the show. It was Netflix's answer to Game of Thrones, a dark, savage fantasy that broke streaming records overnight. And at the heart of it all was one man, Henry Cavill. Fans didn't just like him as Geralt of Rivia. They worshipped him. He wasn't playing the role. He was the role. His deep knowledge of the source material, his respect for the books and games, themes, and his quiet, brooding energy made the show feel authentic in a way no one expected. But then, something shifted. Behind the scenes, whispers started spreading. Writers clashing with Cavill, creative differences, Netflix pushing for a younger, fresher tone. By the time season 3 wrapped, the truth hit fans like a bombshell. Henry Cavill was leaving, and the reaction? Instant chaos. Social media exploded. Memes flooded timelines. Petitions started gaining tens of thousands of signatures overnight. The hashtag #no Cavill, no Witcher trended worldwide for days. Fans didn't just love Cavill, they trusted him. They saw him as one of them, a genuine fan who protected the lore from being watered down. So when Netflix replaced him with Liam Hemsworth, fans felt betrayed. Some tried to stay optimistic. Maybe Liam will surprise us, they said. But deep down, everyone knew something was off, because The Witcher wasn't just a fantasy show anymore. It had become a symbol of everything fans hate about modern Hollywood: corporate interference, tone-deaf casting, and executives ignoring the people who made the show successful in the first place. By the time season 4 finally dropped, the mood wasn't excitement, it was dread. And as the first episodes premiered, the internet's reaction made one thing painfully clear: this wasn't The Witcher anymore. And that's where everything started to unravel. From the very first episode of season 4, fans knew something was wrong. The pacing was off, the dialogue felt strange, and most of all, the magic that Cavill brought was completely gone. Viewers described Liam Hemsworth's Geralt as awkward, emotionless, and like a cosplay version of the real thing. Even critics, who usually try to be diplomatic, couldn't hide their disappointment. One headline read, "The Witcher loses its soul." Another bluntly said, "It's like watching a parody of what used to be great." Across Reddit and X, formerly Twitter, the backlash was instant. Clips went viral comparing Cavill's intense fight scenes with Liam's noticeably tamer ones. Comments poured in like wildfire. "He's trying too hard. This isn't Geralt. It's a knockoff." I couldn't even finish the first episode. But it wasn't just the acting. The writing had changed too. The show leaned harder into awkward humor, flashy visuals, and forced plot lines that fans said felt like a different universe. Entire subplots from the books were cut or rewritten beyond recognition. Viewership dropped faster than anyone expected. In the first week, numbers were already below season 3's finale. By week 3, analytics sites were reporting record low retention. And then the meme that would define the season appeared. Viewership 0. At first, it was a joke. Fans exaggerated the drop to poke fun at Netflix. But soon, it became the internet's go-to punchline. You couldn't scroll through a single post about The Witcher without seeing 0 viewers, dumb show, or RIP Geralt. Netflix stayed quiet. No official response, no interviews, just silence. And that silence made it worse, because every day they said nothing, the backlash grew louder. Meanwhile, Liam was watching it all unfold. Every meme, every insult, every comment calling him the downfall of The Witcher. And while Netflix tried to pretend nothing was wrong, Liam's frustration started to boil under the surface. Because as the world roasted his performance, he knew the real blow was still coming. Netflix was about to pull the plug. And when they did, Liam didn't hold back. It started quietly. No press release, no headline, just a few words hidden deep inside an internal report. Season 5 has been shelved indefinitely. For a moment, fans didn't believe it. People thought it was fake news, another internet rumor. But within hours, insiders confirmed it. The Witcher was done. Netflix had officially canceled season 5. The decision hit like a thunderclap. One of the platform's biggest fantasy investments gone. The same series that once pulled in hundreds of millions of viewers worldwide, now written off as a total failure. And the reason Netflix gave? A simple one-liner buried in a shareholder update. Audience engagement failed to meet expectations. That's corporate speak for nobody watched it. What made the move even colder was the timing. Season 4 hadn't even been out for a full month. Fans were still reacting, still trying to process Liam's performance, and Netflix just pulled the trigger. Behind the scenes, reports claimed that executives were furious. Production budgets had skyrocketed, sets had already been designed for season 5, and contracts were in place. But the data didn't lie. The numbers showed drop-offs so steep that continuing the show would have been financial backlash. Still, for fans, this wasn't about money, it was about respect. Netflix had taken something beloved, something that had heart and soul, and turned it into a product that even the actors seemed uncomfortable promoting. Cavill's exit was one wound. The cancellation was salt poured right into it, and the internet made sure Netflix felt it. #cancel Netflix started trending again. Comment sections were flooded with angry things. Even casual viewers were saying they should have never replaced Cavill. Memes of Geralt walking away from a burning Netflix logo went viral. But while fans laughed and celebrated the show's deserved downfall, one person wasn't laughing. Because while Netflix was cutting its losses, Liam Hemsworth was losing his patience. He'd spent over a year training for the role, trying to live up to Cavill's legacy. He'd faced constant online hate before the show even aired. And now, after just one season, the network had canceled the entire thing, without so much as a public thank you. According to one insider, Liam felt betrayed. He'd risked his image, stepped into one of the most scrutinized roles in streaming history, and now he was the face of a failure. So when the cancellation news broke, Liam didn't stay silent. He went online. And what he posted shocked everyone. Because this time, Liam Hemsworth didn't hold back. At first, it seemed like a normal day on social media, until one post started spreading like wildfire. A long, emotional message from Liam Hemsworth, raw, defensive, and angry. The caption was simple: "You people never gave me a chance." Within seconds, screenshots exploded across the internet. In his post, Liam accused Netflix of throwing him under the bus and blamed fans for destroying the show before it even began. He said he'd been set up to fail and that the constant comparisons to Henry Cavill were impossible to escape. One line hit especially hard: "No one wanted to see me win. Not the fans, not the critics, not even the company that hired me." That single sentence went viral. Thousands of people quoted it, roasted it, twisted it. Some sympathized, saying he had a point. But most tore him apart, because instead of taking responsibility, Liam sounded bitter. And online, bitterness spreads faster than fire. Fan pages started posting side-by-side clips of Cavill and Liam, labeling them Geralt versus generic. Comment sections filled with sarcasm. "We didn't give him a chance? Bro, we gave him 4 episodes. Imagine blaming fans for your own bad acting. Someone tell Liam this isn't Hunger Games. No one's volunteering for season 5. Within hours, hashtag Liam Hemsworth meltdown was trending, but it didn't stop there. Entertainment blogs picked up the story, framing it as an actor lashing out at fans. Some outlets even claimed Liam had deleted the post, though by then, it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. Netflix's PR team reportedly went into panic mode. Executives were furious, worried that his comments could make things worse. And according to leaks, Liam was asked to step back from social media until things cooled down, but the damage was done. Instead of sympathy, Liam became the face of Netflix's failure, a symbol of what happens when you replace passion with corporate decisions. The internet turned his meltdown into a meme. Reaction videos popped up overnight. Even other celebrities subtly liked posts roasting the situation. And through it all, one message kept echoing in every comment section, every tweet, every video: they should have never let Cavill go. By the next morning, The Witcher wasn't just canceled. It was a global punchline. And Liam Hemsworth? He'd gone from Hollywood's nice guy to the internet's newest villain. But what came next would make the entire situation spiral even further, because Netflix's silence was about to break, and their response only made everything worse. When Liam's breakdown hit the internet, it wasn't just a controversy, it was an event. Within hours, it felt like the entire online world had turned into a battleground. Reddit threads hit hundreds of thousands of comments. TikTok was flooded with clips roasting Liam's post, dramatic readings of his quotes, and compilations titled "Geralt Goes Off, the Liam Edition." And on Twitter, the chaos was endless. Hashtags like hashtag #NotMyGeralt, hashtag #BringBackCavill, and hashtag #WitcherCanceled trended simultaneously for days. Even people who had never watched the show were joining in, piling onto the outrage just to be part of the spectacle. The memes were savage. Side-by-side images of Cavill's stoic Geralt and Liam's awkward expressions flooded timelines. One viral tweet said, "Liam's Witcher didn't drop to 0 viewers. It dropped to negative numbers." Another posted a fake Netflix statistic graphic: concurrent viewers 3, all of them Liam's family. And while the jokes were relentless, the underlying tone was clear. Fans were done. They weren't just angry about the acting. They were angry at Netflix for ignoring what made the show special. They were angry that creative choices were made for marketing, not storytelling. And most of all, they were angry that the heart of the show, Henry Cavill's authenticity, had been replaced by a corporate checklist. Comment after comment echoed the same feeling. It was never about Liam. It was about what Netflix did to something we loved. Fan communities that once celebrated The Witcher were now archiving Cavill's scenes, creating memorial edits of the first 3 seasons, treating them like sacred relics from a forgotten era. But it wasn't just fans anymore. Even industry insiders started weighing in. Anonymous writers from the show began speaking to entertainment blogs, saying the atmosphere during production of season 4 was tense, disorganized, and creatively hollow. One insider described it like this: "Everyone knew the magic was gone. We were making episodes, not art." As those comments spread, Netflix's image started to crumble. Viewers who'd once defended the company began unsubscribing in protest. Competitors took subtle jabs on social media. Even Prime Video's official account liked a tweet roasting the situation. And through it all, Liam stayed quiet. His outburst had backfired spectacularly, and now every move he made was being dissected by millions of people. But just when everyone thought the drama had peaked, something unexpected happened. Netflix finally broke its silence, and what they said only threw gasoline on an already raging fire. For nearly 2 weeks, Netflix said nothing. No interviews, no tweets, no official response about Liam's breakdown or the show's cancellation. But the silence couldn't last forever. When they finally spoke, it wasn't what anyone expected. In a carefully worded statement, Netflix tried to distance itself from the controversy. They praised Liam's commitment and professionalism, thanked the dedicated fans who had supported the show, and, in the most tone-deaf line imaginable, said they were proud of the creative risks taken in season 4. Creative risks? Fans lost it. Within minutes, screenshots of the statement were everywhere, plastered with laughing emojis and furious captions. One fan wrote, "Creative risk? You mean replacing the main character with a knockoff?" Another, "Imagine being this out of touch with your audience." Even the entertainment press couldn't believe it. Headlines read, "Netflix defends Witcher disaster. Tone-deaf statement sparks more outrage." But the real blow came next. As outrage grew, reports began surfacing that Netflix had lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers in the week following the cancellation. Finance analysts started calling it the Witcher effect. Investors weren't happy. The company's stock dipped overnight, and internally things were falling apart. Leaks suggested that executives were blaming each other. Some pointing fingers at marketing, others at casting decisions, and a few even at Henry Cavill himself for creating an impossible standard. But none of that mattered to fans. To them, Netflix had broken something special. They'd taken a show built on love for its source material and turned it into a soulless brand exercise. Meanwhile, Liam's reputation took a hit he couldn't walk back. Brands paused collaborations, talk show appearances were canceled, and every time his name appeared online, it came with the same cruel nickname, the fake Witcher. By now, The Witcher wasn't just a failed series. It had become a case study in how to destroy a franchise. People were comparing it to the fall of Game of Thrones. Except this time, there was no finale to debate. Just a canceled show, a furious fandom, and a streaming giant trying to save face. And as fans began revisiting the first 3 seasons, clips of Cavill's Geralt resurfaced everywhere. The comment sections under old scenes all said the same thing. This was the real Witcher. They should have stopped after season 3. Some legends shouldn't be replaced. But Netflix wasn't done facing consequences yet. Because the fallout didn't just hurt their image, it was about to cost them something much bigger. The trust of the audience that made them #1. Weeks passed, but the storm never really settled. Netflix tried to move on. New shows, new trailers, new promises, but The Witcher's shadow loomed over everything. The platform that once bragged about being the home of The Witcher now avoided even mentioning it. Their official pages quietly removed posts promoting season 4. Clips disappeared from the homepage. It was like they wanted the entire thing erased, a quiet digital burial. But fans didn't forget. In fact, The Witcher's failure became a cultural reference point, a warning sign for every franchise that thought it could ignore its audience. Whenever a new adaptation was announced, comment sections filled with jokes like, "Don't pull a Witcher. Remember what happened when they replaced Cavill? Respect the source or face the same fate." Even industry insiders began referencing it in interviews. One former Netflix showrunner said bluntly, "It's what happens when executives think the fan base is optional." And behind the scenes, the damage was spreading. Writers and producers quietly admitted that The Witcher's collapse had made studios hesitant to greenlight other fantasy projects. Investors wanted guarantees. Fans wanted authenticity. Nobody wanted another disaster. Meanwhile, Liam Hemsworth was still dealing with the fallout. He went silent online for months. No interviews, no red carpet appearances, no statements. Rumors started swirling that he'd fired his PR team after the meltdown. When he finally reappeared at a film festival, he looked different. Tired, withdrawn, but composed. He didn't mention The Witcher once, but one reporter couldn't resist asking the question, "Do you regret taking the role?" Liam paused, gave a tight smile, and said softly, "I don't regret trying." It was the first thing he'd said publicly since everything fell apart, and it spoke volumes. Because deep down, everyone knew this wasn't just a story about a bad season or a canceled show. It was about ego, about corporations thinking they could replace passion with algorithms, about fans realizing that what they loved most wasn't the brand, it was the heart behind it. And as time went on, The Witcher's fall turned into something bigger, a cautionary tale for an entire industry that had forgotten what made people care in the first place. But even then, one question still lingered in everyone's minds. Could The Witcher ever come back? Months later, whispers began circulating online. Rumors of a reboot, a prequel, maybe even a return to the original tone. But fans didn't take the bait. Every post announcing something new and improved was met with the same skeptical replies. Without Cavill? No thanks. We've seen this movie before. It was clear that trust was gone. And once trust is gone, no marketing campaign can bring it back. Because The Witcher wasn't just entertainment, it was a connection. Fans had invested years of emotion, energy, and loyalty into this world. And when Netflix broke that connection, they broke something far deeper than viewership numbers. In the end, The Witcher became more than a failed fantasy series. It became a symbol of what happens when passion is replaced by profit, when storytelling takes a back seat to brand management, and when a loyal audience is treated like an afterthought. Henry Cavill moved on to new projects, but his shadow still hung over the franchise like a ghost, a reminder of what once was and what could have been. Clips of his Geralt still rack up millions of views on YouTube, every comment echoing the same sentiment. He was born for this role. They lost the magic when they lost him. As for Liam Hemsworth, his story became one of Hollywood's harshest lessons, that sometimes even good intentions can't save you from bad timing and bad decisions. And Netflix, they learned the hard way that not every property can be rebranded and not every fan can be bought back. Because once an audience decides they're done, they're done. So as the digital dust settled, one truth remained. No matter how many seasons or spin-offs come and go, there will only ever be one true Witcher in the eyes of the fans. And the fall of this franchise will forever remind the industry that when you trade authenticity for algorithms, you might still get clicks, but you'll never get loyalty. And that's the real curse of The Witcher.